Welcome back to Caregiving Sweet Tea. If you missed our last episode, we discussed two myths: that caregiving is not just for the elders or seniors, and it's not just for medical professionals. As we meet today, we're going to discuss caregiving and who really does those roles. Is it female? Is it male? And what to expect as a caregiver. Let's get into the numbers of who really is doing caregiving. 61% of caregivers today are women. It is known that women are most likely to handle those day-to-day tasks in really organizing all aspects of caregiving, from the transportation, the doctor's appointments, bathing, all their personal needs. Most women are handling those functions. What we have seen and what statistics show is that men are overseeing the logistics and the money. So I want to ask you guys a question. Why do you think more women are doing this task versus men? I have my own opinion as a owner of a caregiving agency for the past 13 years. I have seen when it is a forced role versus an elected role, and I think this is true for both genders. And I think when you have a household of siblings, I have found that usually it is the daughter or daughter-in-laws that I speak to more promptly about the overall caregiving time of tasks, what their mother likes most, what their dad likes most, and they want those constant updates. However, when it came to finances, I do find that men are the point of contact. Not to make a broad generalization, but men, I have found, if they're in a forced role and are the only child, they are doing the caregiving and they are holding that burden. Both family members and both genders hold that burden for their loved one. It is a very hard role to not only care for yourself, but now care for someone else. One thing I want to talk about that's within this gender roles is it's a term called sandwich generation. And what many people are going through right now is that they're not only caring for their elderly parent, they're also caring for their children. So when you're holding that role of caregiver in both roles, managing children's schedules and parent schedules, the burden is heavy on not just male and female, but for both. Traditional gender norms. Women are traditionally the nurturers, and men are generally the providers. Female caregivers have been known to have interruptions in their work career because they are a provider and because they are there to show up for their loved one for many of their doctor's appointments. And so that loss of time at work is a heavy burden and it costs. So let's talk about the numbers. Women are most likely to do the caregiving. And so what does that mean for the working woman, right? If she's the career woman and making an average salary, it is known that she's probably going to lose around $26,000 annually just on the caregiving burden to care for her loved one. It makes you question, do I hire someone or do I do it myself? Is it worth the loss in income? So if you made the decision to be the caregiver yourself versus hiring someone, when we look at statistics for the United States, $67 billion for unpaid caregivers was in 2013, and that is to double by 2050. So for the person that's just tuning in and you're curious, okay, what does caregiving really look like, right? Even if I'm the male or female. When you're starting the role of caregiving, you really don't know what you need to know. So when you get into this role, it's kind of trying to navigate as you go through it. Okay, when does my mom wake up? What does she like to eat? What does she want to wear every day? What are some things that she would like to do throughout the day? What are her favorite shows? What activities can I pre-plan for her to go to? So when you think about, okay, Monday through Friday for my loved one, how can I set a schedule for them and for possibly myself to assist with, or maybe hire an agency? So when you break down not only their meals, what they're going to do day to day, who are they going to interact with, the real planning takes time. So think about it. You have to navigate their meals, navigate their transportation, navigate their social life, and then also overall, as we age, we have to navigate our health. And those burdens of the appointments, doctor's appointments, and speaking to every physician is also a different task. So when you're navigating all the to-dos and starting from the morning to evening, the big question is like, how much is this going to cost, right? The finances is going to determine how, I would say, easy this can be, but also how much can I manage and how much can I outsource? So I think when you really look at the cost of caregiving, that is going to be your biggest decision, and not only pre-planning for when I will need care, but what are the resources that are existing for my loved one. When we talk about caregiving, many people don't know that long-term care insurance is an option and will pay for a caregiving service to come in and assist their loved one. Another resource that I wanted to give you is Area Agency on Aging. They like to go by AAA, but not your car AAA. So Area Agency on Aging is that extra resource that will give caregiving hours, specifically companion care, for your loved one. As I mentioned, these are some options, but there's maybe options in your local area. I would reach out to your local senior center and resources in your community. I'm sure they will know what other opportunities and nonprofits that could also assist you. Overall, when we look at caregiving and how much of this of my time will it be, you're looking around 24 hours a week in assisting, organizing, and doing the back end things and the front end of actually doing caregiving. I want to give you this tidbit. If you're feeling overwhelmed, burdened by caregiving, know that, as we said in that quote earlier, caregiving is affecting everyone. And so millions of people are dealing with the same issues just like you. I think one of the biggest things that you can do is look to support groups and look for information, just like we mentioned in that adult caregiving guide, that can support you in your day-to-day. We've also talked about the tasks and the gender roles that are associated with these tasks. Caregiving can consume 20 plus hours a week for any person, and it's gonna feel like a full-time or a part-time job. Our next episode, we're gonna talk about actual numbers and dollars and cents as to how much is caregiving going to cost if you hired an agency, made the decision to go to assisted living, or just get extra assistance at home. What is that going to cost? Thank you so much for listening in. We would love for you to subscribe and also to click the link about the resources that can help benefit you and your loved one, and also to share your personal stories as to how caregiving has really evolved for your life.